Alright, we got 2 down. Let's move on to the 3rd level, Outpost TREMONIUS. So as we exit Foundations and we move on to Outpost TREMONIUS, once we make our way down the hallway, there's going to be a bunch of sleeping grunts just passively around here. You can just take advantage of the explosive canisters here and you can take out a large chunk of the grunts. As well, since they're only just going to be grunts, they're going to be pretty easy to take out, so you want to make sure you have full shields for the next part, as it's going to be a little hard because of just the sheer amount of volume of enemies you're going to have to be killing in this next section. That way, since we have full shields, we can guarantee ourselves a checkpoint once we open the door, and it'll save us a lot of time so we don't have to constantly re-clear, go through the cutscene here in case you didn't get a checkpoint. So just want to save some time. Make sure also when you get this first Spartan core that you upgrade your shield. That way you have a little bit more shields to work with and it's going to be a little bit easier. And I'll be showing you later on in this video where you can get 2 more Spartan cores. And that'll also help you upgrade your shield one more time as well. So once we get the doors open, we're going to want to take out as many people as we can. So there's just going to be a bunch of clusters of grunts, jackals, and brutes on this entry area here that we're just going to try and take out. And then we're going to make our way over to that building that's going to be right in front of us here. And we're going to end up clearing out the building and then using this building as cover for the most part. So you see there's going to be 2 grunts just chilling at the top there. They're pretty easy to take out. And then once you enter, there'll be 2 more grunts and a couple jackals at the bottom. All in all, not too bad of killing, and get your shields if you need to, if you happen to lose any. They're going to have plenty of opportunities here. And there'll be sometimes another grunt that'll walk in, but just a couple rockets and that'll take care of him. Now once you enter this back door, there'll be another Spartan core you can pick up. And then this part is optional. I prefer the BR over the Commando, so I swapped it out here. And what we're going to be doing with that is we're going to be going back to the roof. And we're going to be picking off enemy grunts and jackals as much as we can that's going to be on the main platform up here. So we're going to try and take out as many as we can. And I'm probably going to speed up this footage a little bit because it takes a little bit of time to kill a grunt. It takes 4 or 5 shots. Make sure you get a headshot once you break their shields and it'll kill them. But all in all, it's not going to be too bad. It's just a little bit of time consumed here. And then you're also going to want to look out for, on your right, is going to be a plasma turret on a little cliffside. You're going to want to take that out because if you peek out too much here, it will start shooting at you and it will shred your shields. So you just want to make sure you can see it's going to be over there right next to all those crates and the little deployable shield. We're just going to shoot our 2 rockets and take out the plasma turret. So we're going to be using this little wall that's next to the ramp going to the roof here as our cover while we take out a lot of the brutes, grunts, and jackals that are going to be on the ground here. And what you can also do is you can go onto the ground here in case you need a new angle to start shooting at some of the enemies as well, as sometimes some of the enemies will go too close to the building, and in order to start shooting at them from the roof, you're going to be putting yourself in a much more exposed position, and you'll just be getting shot at from too many things at once, and you'll eventually just be burned down that way. So mix it up, go above, go below, whatever angle is better for your cover depending on where some of the enemies are. I'll leave that into your hands and your judgment. See which one would be better for your situation. Now these jackals that are going to be on the far side are kind of annoying to kill, but give it some time and you'll eventually hit your shots, as they tend to sidestep a lot or walk around. But once you hit them, you'll eventually kill them. And then you can also see that there's going to be 2 brutes in that building I was just shooting at there. But there's also a bunch of explosive crates that are going to be over there, so you can take advantage of that. 1 rocket plus those crates will usually kill one of them. And then you can just start firing a couple more rockets to make sure you get both of them down. And you can even see I didn't even get to finish killing that 1 jackal that was over there. Like I said, they're a little harder to hit from this range, but you'll be able to kill them eventually. They won't be able to put up too much of a fight from this distance. So I'm just double checking right now, making sure the coast is clear for the most part before I start heading over to the next building. And if you need to, since most of the enemies are just grunts and jackals, once most of them are cleared out, please go and grab some shields if you can. So I cleared out 1 of the jackals, and then I'm finishing off the second one so I can refill my shields and I'll be ready for the next fight. This next building isn't actually going to be too bad. It'll be just like the first one, as there's only going to be 2 jackals that are just going to be chilling up top there. 1 dynamo and then 1 or 2 rockets, and you should be able to finish all of them off. And now I'm going on top of this building, as sometimes there'll be more enemies that'll just be on that main platform that you can see from there. In this case, it looks like I got most of them that way. But from there, we're going to be hopping down, and we're going to be finishing off any other enemies that we didn't already. So you can see this grunt somehow survived my first rocket barrage from earlier. And then there's going to be more brutes and grunts that are going to be coming out from the bottom section here. We're just going to dynamo, stun them, and take him out when we can. Don't want to get hit by that rocket launcher he has. Then we go back and finish off the grunts. In this case, I needed more shields because I got hit a couple times, so I'm just going to go and get them back. Now there'll be 2 jackals coming down that hill. They're not going to be too much of a problem. Just dynamo, rocket them, and you'll be good. And once you start heading up that hill, it's going to trigger a phantom to start coming down. So you want to run into this building to provide cover, because you don't want to get hit by the turrets on there. Now I wanted to go for style points and try destroying this thing, and I think I took an extra hit because of it from the splash damage. So it's better just to be safe and just chill out in the building until it goes away so you don't end up getting hit. But I also tried seeing if I can get any of the enemies that are jumping down killed while they were, but I don't think I ended up succeeding, so better just to stay safe than sorry. And once you officially head up this ramp, there's going to be even more brutes, jackals, and grunts heading out of the little hole in the wall on the right, so you're going to want to be careful for that. And one more option that you can do is, once you've cleared out that little section of enemies there, in that same hole that they came out of, there's actually going to be a skewer that you can use. And that could potentially save you some time if you use the skewer instead of the rocket launcher. As you'll see later on in the video that the rocket launcher can kind of send enemies flying around. And you need to kill all the enemies in this area in order to progress. And if an enemy gets sent flying and you end up losing him, it could not trigger that you killed him, and you'll just be stuck roaming around trying to find the one guy that just got sent miles away, and you'll just get stuck there for a while. So that's one option. I didn't end up doing it there, but during one of my attempts I experimented around with it. It worked fine. So it's just up to you whether or not you want to risk having enemies flying around and losing them. Then we're going to be using this box that's going to be up top here, and we're just going to be using it as cover while we finish off some of the other enemies with our rockets. Just be careful that the elites and grunts will be throwing grenades at you. So you just want to double check that you're not going to be getting hit by that. Just stay on your guard with that. Remember, always throw your dynamos out first, so that way you stun them as much as possible, so you're reducing the amount of time that they're going to be shooting back at you while you're shooting at them. And this is actually the section where I ended up losing the enemy because of the rocket launcher. And I thought it was just the elite that was invisible, and I just didn't see him. So I've just been trying to electrocute him the whole time, but it ended up just being a grunt that was way off to the side on the bottom side of the map. So I'll speed up this footage here so we can go and find him real quick. So here you can see I found the grunt. He ended up just chilling down here at the bottom because he got launched off. And during one of my attempts on this section, I ended up launching an enemy so far away that he wasn't in the zone, and I ended up having to actually kill myself because I couldn't progress through the level, and I was roaming through the entire section for like 20 minutes and I could not find him for the life of me. And be careful when you're doing the next section, when you're doing the fob, the first fob that you do, and I'll be covering that one as well on LASO, as if you die to that and you didn't have full shields at the end of this section, there's a good chance your last checkpoint will be before you finished clearing out this area. So you want to make sure that you don't have to redo this whole thing again. So just take it real nice and slow on the next part. And real quick before we start the next part is I want to show you where you can get the other Spartan core that's going to be in this area as well. As right behind the main building that you first came out of after doing foundations, if you head below and behind, you'll find a bunch of ruins where you'll see another Spartan core that you can pick up. So right before we get into the fob, I just want to clarify that I'm not sure if it's possible that you can set your difficulty to easy and do all the open world stuff, excluding missions like the tower excavation site that are still in open world but are still main missions. I don't know if you can do that stuff on easy and still get the achievement. I couldn't find anything that could confirm or deny that. So I just did everything on LASO to be safe. So that's what I'm going to be doing with the rest of the video. So I'm going to kind of guide on how to get to certain places as well. But for the most part, it's pretty straightforward. So what we're going to do in order to start taking out this fob is we're actually going to head over to this big hexagonal tower over here, and we're going to be sitting on top of here. It gives us a great view of where the fob is, and what we're going to be doing here is we're just going to be taking pop shots from our rockets, trying to pick off who we can here. And you can see it kind of just sent that one dude flying with the rocket, and luckily everyone that's not a chieftain or boss enemy will actually die to fall damage if they get flung too much, so that dude will die, so we don't have to worry about tracking him down, you know. Just make sure you're being careful though, because the grunts with the disruptors can snipe, as in most enemies in this LASO thing treat pretty much every weapon they have like a sniper, so you just want to make sure that you be a little bit extra careful with that. So you are going to still be getting shot at from grunts with disruptors from miles away, no matter what mission you are on, so that's just something to keep in mind. And once we get most of them down, we'll hop down so we can get better views, make it easier for us to shoot. But we're still going to try and keep our distance so they don't fire at us as much, and we're just going to keep trying to pick them off one by one with our rockets here. And once we're all done, the fob will be cleared out, and you're welcome to go down and activate the terminal at it. So now that we're in the open world, we're going to be running into more Spartan cores and have them available to us. So I'm going to take a moment to promote my next video here, which is going to be going over in depth of why these are much more important and how we can essentially just cheese all of LASO using our thruster ability. So watch that, and I'll be able to explain exactly how that goes in much more depth, and I'll be showing more footage of how it looks in action. And with that, we're done with Outpost TREMONIUS. As always, I'd love to hear any kind of feedback on what I can do to improve, as well as I want to promote my Twitch, as I will be starting streaming hopefully around the end of this month in order to improve my guides a little bit better and get a better mapped out route for all my future LASO runs. So until next time, I'll see you in the next video.